All right, so I'm going to talk here about how to reverse code items for a scale. So just so you can see what I mean here, I want you to look at this screen. All right, so this is from the Interpersonal Reactivity Index by Davis, 1980, and it's a measure of empathy with 4 subscales. And I'm also going to use it to demonstrate how to run reliability on subscales and so forth. But let's start with reverse coding. Now, if you're lucky, when you read the scale, the authors are going to tell you what needs to be reverse coded. So let's look at this perspective taking scale. Okay, higher scores mean greater perspective taking. Before criticizing somebody, I try to imagine how I would feel if I were in their place, right? Trying to take the perspective. But look at this one. If I'm sure I'm right about something, I don't waste much time listening to other people's arguments, right? This person, if you say you strongly agree to this person would not be high in perspective taking. So the authors give you this negative, which means you have to reverse code it, right? So on this subscale, there are 2 that you need to reverse code. Okay, so these numbers are not correct, I don't believe. But they might be. Let me check. No, they're not. My numbers don't correspond. So anyway, we just make note of that, which ones they are, and then we have to go to the data and we are going to reverse code it. All right. So I'm going to share my other screen. All right. So here we have the data, right? Now here on, this is the IRI. So I've already marked which ones are the perspective taking subscale. Okay, the ones that say RIPT 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Right? So we need to recode. If I'm sure I'm right about something, I don't waste much time listening to other people's arguments. So that is, see if we can find that one. Right, this one. So this is PI, the ones we have is IRIPT 2. And then also, I sometimes find it difficult to see things from the other guy's point of view, which is PT5. So we have to reverse code 2 and 5, okay? So there's 2 ways to do that. You hit transform, and you can either recode them into the same variable or into different variables. We're going to do different because that's a little safer. You'll see why in a minute. So first, we want to look at that label. So we have 1 is does not describe me very well, to 5 is the high value describes me very well. The important thing here is there's 5 points, okay? Just make sure we know how many there are, okay? Then, I remember it's this one, it's 2 and 5, right? So then we go to transform, recode into different variables. Let's reset this, okay? Let's find 2 and 5. So we have IRPT2. And 5, I'm going to change them just so we can see the labels just in case. Yep. All right. All right, then we're going to rename them. So this is the input variable, PT5. Let's just call this PT5R for reverse. And then we hit change. Okay. I already, okay, this one, PT2 reverse. Okay, change. All right, there, PT5 reverse, PT2 reverse, okay? Then we click on old and new values. So now we just need to make them the opposite of what they are. So number 1, remember we have 5 points, becomes a 5, add. And we click all the 2s become a 4, right? So it's reversing it. Now 3s stay the same. So you don't have to put 3s, but we're going to do it anyway. So just so it looks nice. And I'll show you why. 4 becomes 2, add. And 5 becomes 1, add. Now you can just show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it should be the opposite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is why I like to actually include the midpoint that doesn't, because you're not changing this, you don't need to change it, but this really gives you a good visual to make sure you're doing everything right, right? All right, once you have that, just hit continue and hit OK. Okay. Then if you go down to the bottom, so let's see. These are the 2 new ones. So these were not here before. Let's delete them. So, okay, so here's what it looks like right there. Now let's run this again so you can see how they appear. So it's going to have saved it, recode into different variables, right? It's already like we set it up, right? Okay, hit OK. Now you can see how those 2 variables appeared here. All right. So that's how you reverse code. If it's got 7 points, 7 goes to a 1, 6 goes to a 2, and so forth. But that's the basic idea. All right.